Welcome to another Blender tutorial. Today I'm going to teach you a little bit more about edit mode. So I'm just going to go right into this and I'm going to press tab with my cube selected to bring up edit mode for my cube. Now the first thing you'll see is everything selected. So you can press A, if you remember from last tutorial, to deselect everything. Now down here, as I've gone over in my previous tutorial, you have a list of things that you can select. I'm going to start by selecting a face. Now one thing in edit mode that you can do is you can extrude something. So I'm going to press E to extrude. Now you see it, since the side is facing in the Z-axis, it'll automatically extrude to the Z-axis. And if you don't want that, you can press Z. Now we'll undo that and it will allow you to extrude anywhere you want. So let's say I extrude right here and you will see that I made like a weird shape. Now I can extrude again, and this time I can go over here. Then I can extrude again, this time on the Z-axis. And I can extrude out here. And then I can extrude the bottom face back down. So we have a simple thing right here. Now, yeah. So what if I want to smooth these sides out? One thing we can do is Control R. Control R will bring up subdivisions. And if I click right here, you will notice that it comes up with a little loop. Now this loop, I've just made a cut that goes all the way around here. So now you can see that I can pull this out too, and I can do anything with this that I want. Now I'll go ahead and make a couple more subdivisions. I'll make a subdivision right here, and I will bring it out. That. So it's starting to look pretty wacky. Now I'll show you something useful with subdivisions. Let's say I don't want these corners right here to be sharp. So Control R, and I'm going to subdivide right here. Now I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to select the edges right here, along here. And what I'm going to do, or you could also, an easier way to do that is just to select that face. Now I'm going to press S to scale it down, and maybe scale it in a little. And if we press tab to go back out of edit mode into object mode, you will see we've made that a little less pointy. Now, I will show you a little bit about the transform bar here. So rotate and scale, you know what those do. Mirror, what mirror does is it mirrors something. So you see, if I press mirror right here, you'll have this little box come up, and on constraint axis, if I click X, you will see that we have that there. Now, Y, it moves it over, and Z, it moves it over. Now, orientation, local, you will see that it will go around itself. Now this is all definitely more advanced. So let's go on to duplicate. Duplicate's easy. It just makes another. Now, delete, that will just delete. Another way of doing that is just pressing X, which will bring up delete. And then there's join. Now how join works is if you have two objects selected by pressing shift and selecting your second object. You can join the objects together by pressing this button, and they become one object. So even though they're not connecting, Blender is now thinking that these are both one object. It doesn't have to be connecting or anything. Now, smooth shading, that is whether or not what type of shading you want. This doesn't actually affect the object, as if we go into wireframe mode, you will see if I click on smooth and flat, it will not affect the object at all. You'll just see it will just look different, and that is depending on the light source and where the light source is. I'm pretty sure. It might not, but that's just, it makes it smooth, look a little smoother. So, alright. So now, if I just go back to here, turn it on flat, because I like flat. History, undo, redo, that's easy. You already know that undo is Command Z. And that's about all that I will cover in that panel now. Another thing is modifiers. Modifiers, or I'll go over this whole bar. So we have the render panel. This render panel is for all of your things that you need to change and in rendering. Like this is all of the stuff that you can change, and then you can press render animation. Right now the camera's in a weird spot, so it won't look very good. All you do is you go back to 3D view. This right here is render layer. You don't need to worry about this right now. Scene, you won't need to worry about this right now either. The world. The world, so, is basically what color it is going to be. So if I turn this up, it'll appear white. If I turn all these up, it will appear white. And how about I'll give it a tint? Blend sky maybe, like that. Now if I go into render, you will see that the sky now looks good. It looks better. So just go back into your 3D view and we'll move on. This is all of the information about your object, like its location, rotation, scale, and a bunch of other stuff that we'll cover in later tutorials. Add object constraint, you'll see what this does later on. Add modifier. Here's where things get interesting. So these are all different modifiers that you can use on your object. Here's mirror. Mirror will allow you to mirror an object, like you can see here. That actually looks really cool. Now you can apply it, because right now modifiers aren't actually there. So because if I go into edit mode, you will see that there's really just one thing. But if I were to apply this modifier, it would then show both sides as one object, and you could change them around however you want. So I'm just going to delete that modifier. Subdivision surface, this will basically round out, and you can see if I turned our view and renders up, it will get more and more smooth. Don't turn it past 5 because your computer will start to lag. Like if I turn it up to 5, you can see, but you can still see this is subdividing the mesh. And if you turn this down, you can see how the mesh isn't very subdivided. And I turned it up to 6, which is way more than you should. So I'm just gonna delete that. There's a lot that will go in that will show you in later videos. Triangulate is similar. What others? Was it mesh deform? that was not it. There's a lot of stuff here. Remesh. This is a very cool. I don't know what just happened there. But there's sharp, there's like blocks, so you can turn your things into blocks. And you can make your depth bigger. That looks very cool right there. So I think I'm going to save it. So if I apply my mesh, you will see now that it actually is there. And there are really a bunch of cubes that are making up this mesh. Now, once you do this, you can, I'll go on to this. This is for another video. This is shading. Now, I'm not going to go into much detail with this yet, but I'm just going to say if you change the diffuse color, you can change the color. And if you don't see this, you will be able to see it if you render the image out right here. It doesn't look very good because the world is actually bringing light down on here. So if I go like that, you might be able to see it a little better. Not that great, but you know, you get the idea. So, what else? So we have this. This is, I'll show you in later videos. Particles are for a later video. I'll show you sneak peek. You basically add a particle system, and it will create particles that will come off of your mesh. And you can change what the particles are. You can change where they go. You could make it of fluid particles. You could change how much of the particle there is. So if I make this a really high number, you will see that a lot of particles come off. So yes, you can also, if I add a icosphere, I can make that somewhere you can make that object icosphere. You will see that there are now a bunch of little icospheres. Now, right here, and if I play, the icospheres will drop down. Some will even hit the mesh, as you've seen before. Or they might not be hitting, so because they have a velocity. So if we can add a mass size, you can turn the size up, so you could get really big icospheres that are just falling out of this one object. So that's very cool. I'm going to go ahead and delete this particle system. Delete this icosphere. Now, was that it? Physics. So there are many different types of physics. I will go into more detail later, but let's just say I add a plane, and I scale up that plane, and I bring it down. And I'll bring our object here, right in the middle of that plane, like this, so it's above. And I add a rigid body physics, and if I press P, or if you go into Blender Game right here, Blender Game, and you press P, it should work. Alright, press exit. I don't know why that is not working right now. If you could find a reason, you can put that in, animated, is that? Alright. Okay. If I go to render, anyway, it should fall. I'll figure out that for a later episode. Oops. what else? There is all this other stuff. Fluid. Fluid takes a while to process. Fluid type, fluid. It takes a very long time to process. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Smoke. Smoke is something we can do. Type active, shape, box, scale it. Oops. Oh, I don't want the mass. Shape, a box, collision margin, scene, friction, translation. I don't really know. Domain, flow, collision. I will also show that for a later video. If you, what's going on? Alright, so, why is it acting like that? Solid. Alright, anyway, I think we'll give an end to this video. One more thing, if you go into objects and quick effects, there's some other stuff here. There's quick smoke, which will make something right here, and you will see that very quickly you will be getting a smoke effect coming out of your object. That's very fun, and you can even animate that smoke. I'll just show you right now what would happen. And then if I animated this, and it won't work out of the margin, but if you think you can make these things that are very cool. So yeah, so that's smoke. You can also, for smoke, you can do fire plus smoke, and that will create some fire with the smoke. And there's a lot of stuff you can do here. There's just fire, where you can bring your object on fire. So I think I'll end this video right here. Please leave a like if you liked this video or if it was helpful, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. So thank you for watching.